Hello and welcome to the Tryline Podcast. I'm your host Bo. By myself today. Fireman Dan is on assignment, but he'll be back next week. Starting the show off with some pretty sad news. One of the rubby league greats, Tommy Rodonengus, he's passed away today at the age of 70 from a long battle with cancer. Really sad news. He'll always be remembered. Obviously, playing wise, he was before my time, but I remember even watching him as a kid talk about rugby league and talk about Origin in particular. Just the passion he had for the game really stood out for me, and I'm sending my best to his family, friends, and I don't think he'll ever be forgotten in the rugby league community. 239 games, another 20 for Australia, another 20 for New South Wales, 24 for New South Wales, 20 for Australia. He coached another 6 games for New South Wales, so sending my best to his family, and yeah, bit of sad news to start. As per usual, we send out some questions for the Instagram, and we'll come back on that end. We're going to answer them all today because it's just me. Finn asked, do you think the Raiders have a chance to win the comp? Yes, I do. I think they're going to time their run a little bit better this year. I think I really like their halves, Jack Whiten and George William. Defensively, George William is one of the best in the comp. So I do think they can win the comp. I think they'll peak at the right time. So that's my thoughts on that one. Colin said, what can the Bulldogs do to start scoring points? Mate, I think their forward pack's been terrible. Josh Jackson's back this week, so is Luke Thompson. So hopefully that gives them a little bit of boost. I think they will score this week, but I don't think they'll be beating the Storm. Billy wants to know my thoughts on the Dragons-Knights game. I thought the Dragons forward pack really took it to the Knights. So they've been really impressive, the Dragons. Even without Ben Hunt last week, I thought they were really impressive. The Knights lost a lot of players, which obviously hurt them. But I like what the Dragons are doing right now. They've proven a lot of the league wrong. Which clubs are overperforming? Which clubs are underperforming? Well, overperforming, I'll go the Dragons. Underperforming, probably Manly for mine. I knew they would struggle without Tom Trbojevic, but not this much. So they're probably my two. I reckon, Brooksy says, I reckon teams should get the choice between 6 again or a penalty. I said this on my live. I don't know if you're there, Brooksy, or if you've just thought of this as well. I think they should have the choice between a penalty and a 6 again. I think too often late in games, teams would just lay on the ruck and give away 6 again because it doesn't really matter. But if the team had the choice between a 6 again and a penalty, then it could nullify a lot of that. I think coming out of your own end, if you get a 6 again on the first tackle, it's not really going to make a difference. But if you get to kick the ball 40 metres down the field and start your set there, I think that does make a difference. So I think the attacking side, if they get the 6 again, they should have the choice, yes. Maybe a differential penalty if you don't want to go for 2. Marley asks, I recognise that name. I think you join into a lot of the live, so here you go, mate. Greatest Indigenous side. It's probably not the forum to do that, but I'll talk about some of my favourite Indigenous players. You got the obvious one, Jonathan Thurston. He's one of my favourite of all time. Greg Inglis, I think he was just outstanding. Another one, probably a current one, is Latrell Mitchell, very similar to Greg Inglis, but they're probably 3 of my favourites. I would like to do greatest Indigenous side of all time, but maybe not on here. Most disappointing and most dominant through the first month. Most dominant, you got to go the Penrith Panthers. I think they just picked up right where they left off from last year. I think they've been really good. Most disappointing would be my side, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys they've been nowhere emotionally, physically. I think they've been overmatched in every single game. I can't really see it changing this weekend too. So they've been my most disappointing. But the Panthers, they've been outstanding. Daily and predictions after round 4. For the main prize, I think Reid Mahoney's probably one of the ones that are in the box seat. Nathan Cleary should be around there. And I'll go Latrell Mitchell as well. I think he's been very, very good. And probably, I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head. RTS is always going to be around there because anytime they go any good, the Warriors, he's always around the points. So probably them 4. Can the Titans overcome the Knights, is it? I think, who are the Titans playing? Let's have a look at that. I can't even see. I don't know who they're playing. 1 second. I can't even remember. Can the Titans overcome the Knights this week? Yes. Yes, they can. I think the Knights, how funny is rugby league? They won their first 2, then they lost their next 2. Now they won their first 2. They look like they're flying. lose their next two, they're staring down the barrel of 3 losses in a row, and they've got half their side out. So yeah, I think the Titans can win. Who do you think will be the first player to kick a 2-point field goal? That's from Aiden. I don't want to see one, to be honest. I hate the rule, but Latrell Mitchell has a big boot, so maybe him. Nathan Cleary. I think Milford's hit a couple from outside the 40-metre line before, but I don't really want to see one, to be honest. Jaden asks, what position do you see Connor Watson in? Oh, I like him at lock. I just like him on the ball. I think he's been playing good. He's similar to Tyrone Peachey in the way that he just needs to be in the side. If he's in the side, your team's better for that. He should go well at 6 this week. I thought he was good when he moved to fullback last week. He's a great player. And the last question, how do you think the Dragons will go without Ben Hunt? Well, I said last week that they'd get beat. They won the game. So they're playing really good footy at the moment, the Dragons. It seems like they're playing together. Anthony Griffith notoriously gets his teams fit. So they're just playing good footy. I'm really impressed with them at the moment. All right, the 18th man rule comes into effect this week. You got to bear with me, all this talking. I got to do it all myself. The 18th man rule will come into effect this week. They did tweak it a little bit, which I like. So how it's going to work is you can bring on your 18th man if you get 3 people taken out of the game due to HIAs and they can't come back. Also, if a player suffers a match-ending injury, so say a head knock, HIA, if he does his pec or something, and it's caused by foul play in which the player that committed the act gets 10 in the bin or sent off, then the 18th man can also come in, and I love the change. I think that's why it should have been brought in the first place. I don't think a team should be disadvantaged from another team doing something illegal. So I do like that change. The 18th man rule, we'll have to see how it plays out. Teams will try and manipulate the rule. Obviously, that's what coaches do, but this is the world we live in. Have to see how it plays out. But at the moment, I'm a fan, especially of the change. I'm a fan of that. All right, let's get into the games. Big round of footy. I went 6 of 8 last week. I'm hitting about 71%. I can blame the Cowboys for a couple of those ones. Bit of loyalty gone wrong. But we'll build in. We'll go again. All right, first game, Rabbits-Broncos. That's on Thursday night. Benji Marshall was in for Cody Walker. That's why he was brought to the Rabbitohs, guys. If things like these happen, Cody Walker's suspended. If one of the halves make the Origin side, Benji's going to be able to slide in there. So that's why he was brought to the club. Perfect example right here. Jacob Host is also back this week. Good news for the old dream team. Had him sitting in the emergencies. I don't really like selling players when they go down in value, so I needed him back. Pat Carrigan's out suspension, so that's pretty poor for the Broncos. I think this one seems pretty straightforward. I think the Rabbitohs should roll through the Broncos. I think they're going to need a miracle to win this one, the Broncos. I think Latrell, Damien Cook, Adam Reynolds, Benji, Cam Murray, they'll be all be able to just put too many points on. So I'm going the Rabbitohs. All right, Warriors Sea Eagles. That's Friday, Central Coast Stadium. They should get a decent crowd there, actually. Adam Fanua-Blake is out with a knee injury, so that's a massive out for the Warriors. I think he's been really good in the first month. Still no Tommy, and Manly are desperate for a win. A bit of a danger game here for the Warriors, in my opinion. I think hopefully they're not thinking they can just walk through Manly, because after not winning for a month, they'll be hungry for a win. You would think they'd be strong enough to get it done. I'm going to be tipping the Warriors on the back of RTS. He probably gets man of the match there. Panthers Raiders. Really excited for this game. Really, really excited for this game. It's funny because when you're that good for that long, like the Panthers have been so dominant for so long, they won 18 in a row last year. They've won 4 in a row to start the season this year. That's like they've lost 1 in their last 23 games, something like that. So now teams know that about them, so they're going to be up for them every single week. They're going to know that they're going to be ready to go. So in saying that, I think I have the Raiders to cause an upset here. I don't think we're going to see similar to what we saw last year with the Panthers. I don't think they'll go on this massive run. I think they'll win majority of their games. I just don't think they'll win 18 in a row again. I think the Raiders would have marked this on their calendar at the start of the year. I just think they're going to be right up against the top teams here, and I think the Raiders will get it done. Any betting men out there or women, the Raiders are getting 7.5 points. I like that too. I reserve the right to change my mind on this one, but I'm going to take the Raiders in an upset. No Dylan Edwards. I think it's a big one for me, especially in a game where they're coming up against a little bit better opposition here. I'm going with Raiders. I don't know. I'm probably changing my mind. I've got a couple upsets this week, actually. Titans, Knights. Like I said, how things can change in 2 weeks. Like, they were 2-0. They were flying. Their 4-pack was looking outstanding. Then they lose 2 in a row. Their 4-pack gets jammed last week. And now, listen to these injuries. Like, Kalen Ponga's meant to be back this week. They've got Kurt Mann, Jacob Saifidi, Edric Lee, Tex Hoy, Phoenix Crossland, Dominic Young. He was the young centre that come in last week, the week before he's injured. Bradman Best, Lachlan Fitzgibbon. And to top all that off, Mitchell Pearce out to potentially round 16. So that's a huge loss. Ponga being back in the side's decent for them. Connor Watson to 6. I don't mind that either, but injuries, they're their biggest enemy. They have been the last 2 years. I think, on the other hand, the Titans have some players coming back here. They got Brian Kelly, who I thought was great last year. Ash Taylor might be a late in. I think it might take a little bit of time for the Knights to get used to life without Pearce. So I am going to go to the Titans to bounce back after last week's loss. Titans win, in my opinion. All right, another miracle. Bulldog Storm. If you're a Dogs fan, what are you hoping for out of this one? Like, seriously, look, Josh Jackson, Luke Thompson, and Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, they're all back. They're staring down the barrel of 5 straight losses. Like, Nick Kotrick, who they brought in, I think he's been poor. They've moved him to the wing now. Corey Allen's going to go into the centres, so they've shafted Corey Allen from fullback as well. I don't know, man. And Harry Grant's a chance of being back for Melbourne. If you want more bad news as a Bulldog supporter, I don't think they'll risk him in this game. I'm 0-2 on my most confident tip. Okay, so I started that 2 weeks ago. I said that the Roosters would definitely beat the Rabbitohs. No. So that was 1-0 on me most confident tip. Then I built into the next week and I said, well, you know what? The Warriors will definitely beat the Roosters. No. So let's go for 0-3. I'll say the Bulldogs. 100% chance, my most confident tip, will score a try. Not even penalty. They will score a try against Melbourne. There's my most confident tip. Anyone that's been following along, you know to back the opposite because my most confident tip has been garbage. But the Storm get it done by plenty, in my opinion. Roosters Sharks, Sydney Cricket Ground. The Roosters have a really good record here at the SCG. They're unchanged after a strong win against the Warriors. I thought Sam Walker was good. I called him Sam Williams in a TikTok video. I think Sam Williams is on the bench for the Raiders or in the extended bench. Ramian's back from suspension from the Sharks, who should be confident after putting on a big score against the Cowboys, although they didn't get much resistance in that game. I see the Sharks still haven't beaten a top 8 side from last year, so they haven't beaten a top 8 side since before I even started this stuff. So as long as they keep losing to top 8 sides, I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to take the Roosters here to get it done. I think it'll be a good game. The Sharks haven't looked that bad this year, but they got a poor record against good sides. West Tigers versus the Cowboys. Not looking forward to this one, to be honest. Leichhardt, Sunday afternoon. Should be a good crowd. Should be a good atmosphere. I'm not looking forward to it. I think they'll steamroll the Cowboys. Mumbai is in the centres. There's some talk the Cowboys are interested in him. I don't mind that at the right price. I think Mbai's a quality player. Change of scenery could be good for him. I don't think Hamiso's a centre. He's in the centre this week. He could be found out a little bit. Lucky he's one of the fastest players in the league, so should be able to make up for it there. Jason Taumalolo's back for the Cowboys. He's still on reduced minutes. Todd Payton has said that he hasn't changed his mind on that, so he'll still play the same game plan, which in the first round really didn't look great. I got the Tigers by plenty. I don't see a lot of upside in the Cowboys right now. I hope they prove me wrong. Like I said, I'm on the downhill. So that we lost. I'm down here. By the end of the week, I usually perk back up. By Saturday, you never know. I might be saying the Cowboys by 20, but right now it's the Tigers, and it's not looking good. I feel very defeated right now. All right, on to the Eels Dragons, last game of the round. Super, super excited for this game. I think the Dragons have been shocking everyone in the NRL, the way they've been playing. The Eels are undefeated, but they haven't been outstanding in that. I think the Storm game, they were very good. The rest of the games, they kind of got away with a little bit. Like the Broncos were up by a lot against them. They come back, won that to their own credit, but they weren't great for a lot of that game. The Sharks kind of run out of troops. They were a chance of beating them. They run out of players. The Eels come over the top of them. And then they almost beat themselves 4,137,000,000 times against the Tigers. They kept dropping the ball. They kept inviting them back. The Tigers weren't good enough to take advantage of that. The Tigers, it was funny, at the start of the game were bombing Blake Ferguson and were getting heaps of luck, and then come out in the second half, and it took them half to bomb him again. Like Luke Brooks took over the kicking game. Dewey was putting up some just nuts kicks. Anyway, I think the Dragons win. I just think the Eels are due for a loss. I still think they're going to go very well this year, but I just think they need a little bit of a wake-up call. They haven't been outstanding. I think the Dragons are playing better. They're probably in better form right now. I'll probably change my mind on that too. But Eels Dragons, it's always a fun one in our house. My wife goes to the Dragons. My best friend goes to the Eels, so they have a little bit of competition there. I'm going to take the Dragons. I'll probably change my mind, but that's where I'm at. All right, we got through that, guys. It was me by myself. I'll be back Monday to review the whole round. You can catch me over the whole weekend on Instagram, TikTok. I'll be posting stuff on there. I'll leave the link to all that in the description of this video. If you like any of our stuff, make sure to check out all our socials and enjoy the weekend.